Welcome to Something Doesn't Make Sense. This is a new series where we're looking at real agency stories and uncovering the financial numbers that explained what was really happening behind the scenes. Because sometimes a business owner feels stressed, sometimes they feel stuck, sometimes they feel like they're working harder than ever, and they can't figure out why. Something doesn't make sense. I'm Neil Basta with BastaCroop, and in today's episode, we're looking at a social media agency owner who thought her agency generated $847,000 in revenue. It didn't. And discovering that mistake ended up changing everything. Let's get into it. A quick favor before we start. If you own an agency, run a service business, or just want to understand your numbers better, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments. Have you ever looked at two reports that showed completely different numbers? I'd love to hear about it. Now let's talk about this agency owner. She had been running her agency for 6 years. Every year, revenue seemed to go up. Clients were coming in. Projects were getting completed. Money was flowing through the business. From the outside, things looked great. But there was a problem. Every time she needed to make an important decision, she froze. Should she hire? Should she raise prices? Should she take on another retainer client? She couldn't answer those questions confidently, not because she wasn't smart, not because she wasn't experienced, because she didn't trust her numbers. And here's where things get interesting. She had multiple systems tracking revenue. Her bookkeeping software had a number. Her payment processor had a number. Her project management system had a number. The problem? None of them matched. Think about that for a second. Imagine opening 3 different apps and getting 3 different answers to the same question. How much money did my business actually make? That's exactly where she was. And the scary part? She was making business decisions using those numbers. So which one was right? Well, that's where the investigation started. When we ran the Profitable Agency Scorecard, we started with the most basic question possible. What is your actual revenue? Not invoices sent, not deposits received, not estimates. Actual revenue. And what we found surprised everyone. The number she believed was approximately $847,000. The verified number was $761,000. That's an $86,000 difference. If you discovered your revenue wasn't what you thought it was, what would your reaction be? Most people would panic. Most people would assume that's terrible news. But here's the twist. She felt relieved. We'll come back to that in a second. First, let's talk about where the $86,000 went. Because it didn't disappear. It was hiding. Some of it came from refunds that weren't being handled properly. Some came from credits issued to former clients. And some came from one-time project revenue that had been mixed together with recurring client revenues. And that's a huge distinction. Because recurring revenue is predictable. One-time project revenue isn't. Imagine you think 85% of your business comes from recurring clients. That feels pretty stable, pretty safe, pretty predictable. The actual number, 62%. That's a completely different business. And suddenly something that didn't make sense started making sense. Why did cash always feel tight? Why did growth feel harder than expected? Why was decision-making stressful? Because the business wasn't standing on the foundation she thought it was. Now here's the lesson. Most agency owners think revenue is a simple number. It's not. Revenue is the foundation number. Every other important metric depends on it. If your revenue number is wrong, your profit number is wrong. Your labor metrics are wrong. Your growth plans are wrong. Your hiring plans are wrong. Everything built on top of that number becomes less reliable. It's kind of like building a house on a crooked foundation. The house might look fine until you start measuring things. So what did we do? First, we reconciled all the different data sources into a single source of truth. Second, we separated recurring revenue from one-time revenue. Third, we established a simple monthly review process. Nothing complicated, nothing fancy, just making sure the right number existed before making decisions. And then something interesting happened. The owner finally had clarity. She delayed one hiring decision by a quarter. She renegotiated a retainer agreement. And for the first time, she could set a meaningful break-even target and know whether she was actually hitting it. Remember earlier when I said she felt relieved? Here's why. Before, she had uncertainty. Now she had truth. And truth is easier to work with than confusion, even if the number is smaller than you hoped. In her own words, discovering the real revenue number actually made her feel calm because she finally knew what she was working with. And honestly, I think that's the biggest takeaway from this story. Most business owners don't need more spreadsheets. They don't need more dashboards. They don't need more reports. They need clarity, because clarity leads to better decisions, and better decisions create better businesses. Now here's where this series gets interesting. This was only the first number. And in the next episode, we're looking at an agency that was billing more than ever. Revenue looked strong. Clients were happy. Everything seemed fine, except one client was quietly destroying profitability, and nobody noticed for almost 2 years. Trust me, that story gets even crazier. So if you haven't already, hit subscribe, click like if you found this helpful, and let me know in the comments. What's one business number you wish you understood better? I'm Neil Basta with BastaCroop, and I'll see you in the next episode of Something Doesn't Make Sense.